Welcome to Reddit Storytime. Today we're going to see a post on r/EntitledParents where a lady is racist to someone from her own family because she is jealous. Let's exchange daughters. I deserve the white girl. Warning, this story is quite racist and classist, so take all of your tolerance and control the desire to kill this Karen, although I don't blame you if you can't. Okay. Recently, it was Mother's Day, and I was talking to Mom on Skype to wish her a happy day and celebrate with her. When we talk about this again, I must clarify English is not my first language, for which I apologize if there are mistakes. A long time ago, more than 20 years ago, my mother had just joined my father and his family. She was a very hard-working person. She studied and worked, in addition to helping my father's family every time she could, since she did not have a family. Everyone loved her for these qualities. At the same time, my uncle had married a woman. Let's call her Liz. Like my mother, Liz had grown up in a poor and toxic family, but she was not at all as hardworking and kind as my mother, nor as beautiful. Liz always envied my mother. She may have been married to a rich man, and I had a better economic position than my mother, but for Liz, it was not enough. She wanted to be admired and loved just like my mother, so she always competed with her, although Mom did not know that she was competing until after she had left the family. Liz always tried to steal credit from my mother or make my father look bad to other members of the family, and when she did not succeed, she would cry like a little girl so that someone would take her side. One day, my mother announced to the family that she was pregnant. Everyone celebrated, and this angered Liz. A couple months later, she announced that she was also pregnant. Clearly, she was competing with my mother again. Over time, it became known that both Liz and my mother were going to have girls, and they were very excited. Liz always talked to everyone about how her daughter would be, saying that her girl would have the white skin of her father, the green eyes of she, and brown hair. I don't know where the brown hair would come from, but, well, my mother only hoped that I was born in good health. My mother never stopped working, even while pregnant, while Liz stayed home 9 months pregnant without doing anything. The first to be born was me. I was born healthy. Liz did not even hold me when I was introduced to the family. She was still talking about his daughter. A few months later, my cousin was born, and it was here when Liz's pride went to the bottom. Her daughter was born very similar to her, with dark skin and straight hair, and the brown eyes of the father. Nothing to do with the white girl with brown hair and green eyes that she wanted. Even so, my cousin was beautiful. When my mother arrived at Liz's house, she left me with my cousin in the crib, and while she had coffee with my aunt and Liz, she noticed how she paid a lot of attention. She always approached me in the crib and tried to play with me, ignoring her own daughter. I was born identical to my mother, with very light skin, black hair, a small pink mouth, and big brown eyes. Liz always complimented my skin and my eyes, to which my mother was grateful. She also tried to outshine me, which my mother did not see with favor, since she neglected my cousin and attending to me was my mom's job. One day, Liz approached the crib to see me. She asked my mother if she wanted to change her daughters. Mom knew she was not joking. Even so, I tried to make it look like a joke. Liz insisted, and my mother left her smile. The conversation went something like this. It shows that you like my daughter very much, and I like yours. If we exchange them, we will be happier. I have a good economic position, and I will be able to give her everything she needs. What she needs is her mother. You give your daughter what she needs, and I will give mine the same, but only to my true daughter. I do not intend to give it to you. Your daughter does not seem like your daughter. She adapts more to our family. She has a more delicate appearance that will fit with our way of life. Do you plan to deprive her of that? Mine, on the contrary, adapts more to your lifestyle. Not it will be difficult to work. Do you know how racist and stupid you just heard yourself? I'm not racist. I'm only telling the truth. I need this girl because there will be no difference. They are almost the same age, and I doubt that the family cares. I need this girl for the simple fact of being mine. She is my daughter. I gave birth to her. You plan to deprive that girl of a comfortable and happy life just because of your selfishness? What kind of mother are you? Anyone would be happy to exchange their children with me. My mother, already angry about this, ended up screaming at her. A better mother than you because I fight my daughter, and I do not treat her as an object as you do now? I will give my daughter everything she needs, and you fill your daughter with the happy life that you presume, but not try to treat the girls as objects. Attend to your daughter, and I'm going with my child, and don't even think of throwing a tantrum over this. My mother and I left that house, and for a long time, she did not let Liz see or visit me, nor did I let them leave me alone with her for fear that Liz would steal me. Liz believed that she deserved a white daughter because, according to her, she just adjusted more to her status. Yes, as racist and stupid as it sounds. And that my mother was selfish for not wanting to exchange. Since then, Liz tried to make life impossible for my mother, bothering her at work and inventing accidents and even slander to blame her. She had also stolen some photos of me and presented me as her daughter to her acquaintances and friends, something that was soon known it was a lie when they visited Liz's house. Liz did not mistreat her daughter, but she always yearned to exchange babies. This continued until my uncle and Liz divorced a few years later. She left the country and rarely contacted her daughter. Shortly after the divorce, the kind of person Liz was known, and of course, my mother also told about the exchange of daughters. Now Liz is a black stain in our family and is hated, even by her own daughter. No one has ever told her, my cousin, about the exchange that her mother wanted to do. P.S. Despite all, my cousin and I grew up as sisters, and we get along great. I'm very happy to have my mother I have, and that this exchange would never have happened. Having a mother like that is really disgusting, and I'm very sorry for my cousin. That was a crazy story. I understand if she grew up in a toxic family, but that still doesn't give you the right to be that racist and dumb. Our next post is about some parents that think it's okay to still go to their son's wedding even after they disowned him. You disowned me! So, that's no reason for keeping us out of your wedding. So, not my story, but my best friend I will call JJ, and happened about 2 years ago. I have permission to post it. JJ came out to his family when he was about 27 years old. Aside from them, everyone else in his life knew he was gay, and there was a good reason for it. As he expected, his parents reacted horribly to the news and basically disowned him at the moment. They later told both extended families, and his uncles and grandparents cut him off too. His maternal grandmother went as far as to try to take him out of his dead maternal grandfather's will. She failed due to the will's conditions. No one could modify it, not even the main representative, aka grandma, and homosexuality was not listed in the conditions that could make the inheritance void. Or grandpa didn't expect it to happen, or he just did not care. Take your guess. JJ was legally the partial owner of some properties and also got a substantial amount of money, which got even bigger when he reclaimed in cash his corresponding share of the houses, which forced his family to buy them from him. The other option was losing the properties in a public sale, as stated by our country's laws. JJ didn't need the money, actually. By this point, he was a moderately successful professional and lived in his own apartment. But it severed any legal binding he had with his family that could become a problem in the future. He still kept good relationships with his sister and most of his cousins, but even if they invited him to family gatherings, he always declined. Fast forward 3 years, and JJ is getting married to his longtime boyfriend, Sky, whose family was the polar opposite of JJ's. When they found out, they made royal wedding-style plans for the guy's elopement. They are, very wealthy, and JJ contributed to the whole extravaganza with a portion of his inheritance. He invited as his guests his friends, including here yours truly as the best man, some co-workers, his sister, and his cousins he still spoke to. Don't be wrong, it has a lot of people. The wedding was amazing, done in an underground, literally speaking, it was a freaking cave, venue. His sister took him to the altar. There was an orchestra playing, etc. Fairy tale style. And the after party, well, I can't remember half of it because I was so drunk, but it was from another world. They said go big or go home, and they really went big. But enough of the context. You came here for the juicy part. JJ told the good cousins not to tell anything to his parents or other family members about the wedding because he didn't want trouble. But obviously, the next day, their social media accounts were full of pictures and words spread out like fire. At first, it was small things. He started receiving calls of some aunts about why they weren't invited. The bad cousins complained via Facebook and other nuisances. He just ignored them and blocked numbers and accounts. He did not want or need to give explanation when they had all made clear their position years prior. But one day, hell came directly to his door. His parents, P and M, his maternal grandma, MG, and his paternal grandparents, PGS, all the heads of the family, came to visit. How they found where he lived is still a mystery to him. Sky was working and JJ was alone in the house, so there was no one to help him against the Crook Squad. His name, not mine. I actually can't transcribe because he didn't use exact words when he told me this, but it seems at first they tried to be gentle, asking how he could leave them out of such an important event that directly affected the family. Dudes, really? And things like that. His mom even used the "you took away my chance of seeing my only male son marriage" argument. He pointed out that they were the ones that expelled him from the family and that they hated everything gay. Half of that wedding was LGBT crowd, if you are wondering. They classified his exile as a misunderstanding. The bickering between the six continued for a long time until he got tired and asked what they wanted, as he could not redo the wedding. MG spilled the beans. "Ungrateful brat, at least compensate us for not inviting us to the wedding we paid for." That was the problem. MG and his parents were mad he had used the family money on the ceremony. He told me they actually thought he paid for everything and had burned out all of the inheritance, when it was more like 30 to 40% of the deal. Sky's family paid more, and JJ still had inheritance money, and they wanted it back. They had brought the PGS with them as an additional emotional leverage. As I told you earlier, JJ had made sure the money had no legal bindings to his family anymore. But for some reason, they still believed it was theirs to a point and were mad he had spent it. He confronted them, and they threw away their facade. What came next was a serious fight in which both JJ and his father ended up hitting each other until the neighbors called the police. Charges were pressed on both sides, but in the end, the case was declared a tie. Don't ask me how that was possible because I don't know. And JJ was not forced to pay 1 cent. He was able to ask for restraining orders against all of them. To this day, JJ is still shaken about the event. He had prepared himself for years knowing that his family would hate him because of his sexuality, but he still retained some hope that far in the future they could mend things up. He lost that hope after they tried to emotionally scam him. Thank you for watching this. This was Reddit Storytime, and if you want more stories like these, make sure to check out our channel.